Hey guys! Today's the day. I'm finally going to reveal how you can make your very own Call of Duty style zombie map in Fortnite Creative. And don't worry, I'm not talking about using these creature placers because they've got a very low placement limit. I'm talking about endless amounts of rounds of zombie slaying fun on any sized map you want. Every kill grants you gold that you can then use to buy upgrades, perks, or whatever else you want to implement. Okay, let's just jump straight into how this will work. Let me first tell you guys what we're going to do, and then we'll actually implement all of this. It's actually fairly easy and just uses a little bit of trigger magic to make it all happen. In short, we know that these individual creature placers have a channel support, but only 20 can be placed on a map at a time. In contrary to these creature spawners, that they don't have any limits, but they don't have any channel support either. So how are we gonna fix that? Well, if you watched my last tutorial on the gun range, then you should know that we have a way of converting score into channel support. And that's pretty much exactly what we're going to do for this mechanic as well. This tutorial is going to be all about the gold granting on kill. But if you guys want the second part explaining how to do waves, perks, upgrades, island options and all of that, then I need you guys to do me a favor. Hit that like button. If we get 1,000 likes, I'll release that video. That's right, 1,000 likes. Come on, you guys can do it. So we're going to use these creature spawners because we can place as many as we want. And we can have the zombies grant a score for every kill. And then very easily we're going to constantly check the score and convert it into the reward, being granting the gold. And that way we work around the issue of the creature placer limit. And we can actually place as many as we want without just having it limited to 20 and customize everything to our needs. So, like I said, we'll need a couple of things for this to work and we're going to implement these part by part. First of all, we'll obviously need our zombies and configure them correctly. After that, we'll create a system that converts our score to gold and then recalculate whatever score we have left. And then once we have all of that, all we need to do is set up an infinite loop that will hook into these first two mechanics that is going to automatically do the constant checking and gold granting. And then finally, we're just going to activate this loop sequence automatically. Sounds complicated, but it's really not. And let's just take it step by step. Let's start with the zombies, because we all love zombies, don't we? Let me know in the comments below what your favorite zombie map is from any other game. So, place down a creature spawner. Not the placer, but the spawner. For the spawner itself, you can actually configure it however you want. Depending on your game style, you can change the style of the zombies, if you want the spawner to be visible or not, number of creatures, wave times to increase difficulty or decrease it. And for me testing and demoing it, it doesn't really matter. The only thing I'll set is the type of zombies to fiends. Now, grab a creature manager, and you'll need one creature manager for every type of zombies you'll use in your map. But like I said, for demo purpose, I'm just placing the normal fiends here. And we're going to only need to set two options here in the creature manager device settings. First of all, the score, and set this to 1. And then set the score distribution to all to killer, so whoever gets the last shot will get the gold. Now for testing purpose, to see if everything goes well, go to your island settings and open the UI tab. And then a couple of options down, you'll see the HUD info type. Set this to score, and then start the game for just a small first test. You'll notice on the right you have the score widget, and it starts on 0. Now every time you kill a zombie, your score should increase by 1. Got it? Great, back to editing mode. Okay, next up, we're implementing our second part of the mechanic, which is converting our score to gold. And for this we'll need 4 different devices, so let's grab them first, place them down, and then configure them one by one. We'll need first of all an attribute trigger to check the score, 2, a score manager to readjust the score, 3, an item granter to grant the gold, and finally a temporary button to activate this mechanic until we make our infinite loop and replace this button. Got them all down? Great! First of all, attribute trigger. Open it up and set the minimum player score to 1. Because if we don't have any score, meaning we didn't kill any zombies yet, or we don't have any pending score that we need to convert to gold yet, we don't want to receive any gold either. And then scroll all the way down to the channels and set the listen to channel 1. And then if all checks are valid, to channel 100. And well, we only have one check, like I said, which is we need to have at least one score. Next up, the score manager. Very easy. We know that a signal will get sent on channel 100 if the player has at least a score of 1. So what do we need to do then? Well, we're going to grant him gold and remove 1 from his score. So set the score award type to subtract and the score value to 1. And then scroll a little bit more down and set the activate when receiving from to channel 100, which is the one that gets called from our attribute trigger. Now finally, the item granter. Grab some gold and drop it in there. Use the amount you want to grant on kill. I'm just going to say that 1 zombie kill equals 1 gold, but you can change this to 10 gold, 100 gold, however you want your selling and purchase system later. Then configure it and change the on grant action to keep all, and the grant item when receiving from to channel 100. And that's it! So let's recap. Zombies grant 1 score. The attribute trigger checks if the player has at least 1 score. If he does, we remove 1 and grant him gold. If he doesn't have a score of at least 1, nothing will happen. Now to test this, let's set up our temporary button here, and that will then later replace by an infinite loop that automatically does it for us. We know that this attribute trigger listens to channel 1, so just set the when interacted with transmit on channel 1 for this button. Now before testing, go to your island options and go to the settings tab. Scroll all the way down to the bottom and disable the wood, stone and metal count and enable the gold one, so that we can very easily track how our process is going. And then obviously make sure that your infinite resources is set to off as well. Then start the game and let's see. So score is 0 when starting. Kill a zombie and our score goes to 1. Then press the button and it will convert our score to gold. Great. Time for a last step, which is making an automatic infinite loop system that will do this check every second, so that no matter how many zombies you kill, and therefore score you will have, it will automatically convert it, recalculate, and give you gold. And I know what you're thinking. Infinite loop, just use a sequencer. Well, no. Because the sequencer doesn't know who is triggering, so it can't calculate the score for that player because, well, it doesn't know which player. Instead, we're going to use 2 triggers. So grab 2 triggers and place them right next to each other. And what these triggers are going to do is trigger each other to create a loop. So set the delay to 1 second, then scroll to the bottom and say trigger when receiving from to channel 2, and when triggered, transmit on channel 1. And in the other trigger, we're going to do the exact same but switch the channels. So 1 second delay, exactly the same, but trigger when receiving from to channel 1, and the when triggered, transmit on to channel 2. In short, this means that this trigger activates and after 1 second triggers the other one. That one is going to wait 1 second and trigger the first one again, which then, well, waits 1 second and triggers the second one, and so on. An infinite loop. And we know that every time this trigger gets called, it uses channel 1. And oh, channel 1! That's the one that the attribute trigger is listening to so that it can check, calculate, and grant gold if needed. Now to speed up the calculating, we can now copy our attribute trigger, doing everything exactly the same, but also listening to channel 2. Okay, let's start the game. Since we don't automatically activate this loop yet, we need to just once jump on our first trigger to activate the loop. And then start shooting zombies. And keep a look at our score in the HUD widget and our gold. You'll see that if we have any score, it's going to be removed within the second and be converted to gold. If we don't have any score, it's not going to do anything. Pretty amazing, right? Now back to editing mode for the final touch of magic, which is starting our system. All we need to do is set up a mutator zone that goes over our spawn pad. Just set it up on a wall right behind it. Then set the allow weapon fire to yes, and set the on player entering the zone to channel 1. What does channel 1 do? Well, first of all, it checks the score, and secondly, it activates the infinite loop of all triggers. Now, here's the small catch. Everything we've done so far will only work for 1 player, but very easily we can actually upgrade this to support as many players as we want. All we need to do is repeat this entire process, but with different channels for every player you want to support. So, over our second spawn pad, just place in our mutator zone, and then copy over your triggers and attribute triggers. Then go into every one of these and replace channel 1 by channel 3, channel 2 by channel 4. And just leave everything else as is. And voila, 2 players are now supported. because the first player will just activate this first loop of triggers, the second player, the second one. Want to support 3 players? Sure! Repeat the process but change channel 1 to channel 5 and channel 2 to channel 6. And so on and so on. And that's it, guys. Now I'm going to leave you guys with a little bit of gameplay of the Z-Knight factories made by my Team Unite building partner Echo, for which I reworked and made all the mechanics using this exact method. Code is in the description below if you want to try it out yourself. And meanwhile, for you guys that are still here, thank you guys so much for sticking to the end. I'm just going to do a little plug here and a friendly reminder to, use code Fortnite Creative Tutorial in the item shop. It's the best way to support me and it really helps me out. And don't forget to hit that like button and leave a comment with your favorite Call of Duty Zombies map, or whatever other zombies game you've played before that you really enjoyed. And finally, smash that subscribe button. Did you know that over 90% of you guys watching my videos aren't actually subscribed? What's wrong with you guys? It's free, come on! And thank you guys so much for watching till the end, and I'll see you guys very soon.